The story of Elon Musk is not just about billions of dollars. It is a story of a man who was willing to lose everything he owned for ideas that everyone else thought were impossible. It began in the early 90s when a young, quiet student arrived in the United States with nothing but a suitcase and a relentless drive to change the world. After graduating from the University of Pennsylvania, Elon headed to Stanford for a PhD, but he lasted exactly 2 days before dropping out. He realized that the internet was a tidal wave, and he didn't want to be stuck in a classroom while history was being made. He and his brother Kimball rented a tiny, cramped office in Palo Alto to start a company called Zip2. They were so broke that they couldn't afford an apartment, so they lived in that office, sleeping on a beanbag chair and showering at a local YMCA. Elon would code all night until he fell asleep at the desk, and then he would wake up and start working on the business side during the day. When Zip2 was eventually sold, Elon walked away with over $20 million, but instead of buying an island or retiring, he put almost every cent into his next venture, an online bank called X.com, which later became PayPal. When PayPal was sold to eBay for $1.5 billion, Elon's share was about $180 million. At this point, most people would have stopped, but Elon took the ultimate gamble. He calculated that if he put his money into space travel and electric cars, he would likely lose it all, but he felt the mission was too important not to try. He invested $100 million into SpaceX, $70 million into Tesla, and $10 million into SolarCity. He was left with so little cash that he actually had to borrow money from friends just to pay his personal rent. The year 2008 was the absolute breaking point. It was a year of pure agony that would have crushed any other human being. SpaceX had attempted 3 rocket launches, and all 3 had exploded before reaching orbit. He was down to his last few $1 million, which was only enough for one final launch. If the 4th rocket failed, SpaceX was dead. At the same time, Tesla was hemorrhaging cash and was just days away from total bankruptcy during the height of the global financial crisis. Elon was going through a painful public divorce, and the press was writing articles every day about how he was a failure. He recalls this time as eating glass and staring into the abyss. He was under so much stress that he would wake up in the middle of the night screaming from nightmares. Then, against all odds, the miracle happened. In September 2008, the 4th SpaceX rocket reached orbit perfectly, making it the first private liquid fuel rocket to ever do so. A few months later, NASA called him with a $1.5 billion contract that saved the company. On the very same day, just hours before Tesla would have run out of money, he managed to finalize a financing deal to keep the car company alive. Since those dark days, Elon has transformed from a struggling entrepreneur into the wealthiest man on Earth. He has successfully landed orbital rockets back on Earth like science fiction movies, forced the entire global auto industry to go electric, and even sent humans into space. His story is the ultimate example of the American dream, proving that with enough obsession and the willingness to risk total failure, one person can truly change the trajectory of the human race.